In today's episode of the Pathmark Presents podcast, I am meeting Harry Foster, who is a digital marketing manager at SOAR agency. And basically, or SoarOnline, I should rather say, that's the better name. We're today going to be jumping into, talking about what SOAR is actually doing, who they're serving, and how Harry's thinking about growth. So Harry, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Maybe give us, a 360 overview. What is the agency all about?
So we're kind of a small agency that began about 5 years ago. And our sort of conception story is quite interesting because it was our head of digital and founder of SOAR worked in-house at one of our existing clients' company, and they're a hospitality company. They're called Event Masters, and they were really, really happy. They'd never done anything sort of digital before or kind of anything SEO based, and our founder came in and just kind of turned the company on their head, really, in terms of getting them to the top of Google, like absolutely kind of smashing their inquiry growth and things like that. And the founder said, the existing company said to him, well, I think there's a market here for you to do this for other smaller companies around Birmingham. I'll happily invest and we can start the company together. So that's how SOAR came around. So we're a small agency. We focus on small companies, and we've got over 25 years experience now in cumulatively from all of our kind of workers, and we just love SEO. We kind of know it inside out, and we really like helping smaller companies get some visibility online.
Very cool. When you say smaller companies, like what types of companies are we talking? Are we talking like small e-commerce shops? Are we talking brick and mortar stores, local services? Like what is it that you work with? Small software companies?
So I'd actually say before COVID, I would have definitely said it was more e-commerce, small e-commerce businesses and things like that, and people who sell various goods online. But ever since COVID, we've kind of shifted our focus towards people who really rapidly needed to get online and understood quickly the need for digital. And obviously COVID accelerated those sort of shopping habits. People started shopping online more. Even search habits on Google completely changed ever since like COVID hit. So we do kind of like to focus now on sort of even people like accountancy firms around Birmingham, who still may not even have a website running or didn't have a website running before COVID because they didn't understand the importance of imprinting themselves onto the internet and getting that presence that way. And I think COVID has kind of taught everybody a lesson that, it's the time is now to be investing into your own digital presence.
Yep, very good.
And that counts for brick and mortar as well.
Yep, for sure. That makes sense. Like, maybe tell us a little bit, how do people hear about SOAR? You mentioned actually you're working out of around in the area of Birmingham quite a bit, but how do people hear about SOAR? So
we work a lot on referrals. We kind of invest our time and energy into starting a brand's journey with them at a low kind of level digitally and growing with them, really. So we kind of work on referrals around the local business that way. We're also a member of the Great British Chamber of Commerce in Birmingham, which is, we kind of try and embed ourselves within the business community a lot there. And we also partner with various charities as well. So recently, there's a charity called Acorns in Birmingham. It's a children's hospice, and we've been offering free sort of video analysis of their websites, going through sort of their website health and offering any sort of digital or strategy insights that we can in return for a donation to the local charity as well. So anyone who's kind of got a foothold in the Birmingham business community or also kind of relates to these charities will have heard of us because, we offer this service completely free on our part and, in return for a donation for a local charity.
Very good. I mean, that sounds like actually quite cool, like an agency being so involved in the local community. Don't hear that very often. It's very good.
Yeah, well, that's what we try to do. And, we're from Birmingham. We kind of started there, but we are branching out. We have an employee in London now, and we're kind of trying to get into London a little bit more now. But it is nice to be part of a business community like that, for sure. Another way that kind of clients find our business as well is we've just got a new tool that's put on our website. I'm sure you've seen it on our homepage, and anyone can kind of come to the website and test their own URL, and then they can see their own sort of web health and traffic numbers and stuff like that, which is a handy tool. And it's good for people who are looking for marketing services and who aren't, because it's just more information really that people may not have had about themselves before.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, so you mentioned the website actually there. Like, how do you think about the website? Like, what role does the website play for SOAR?
So it's interesting actually, and we've just kind of revamped our website recently. I think it was a couple of months ago we decided to sort of rebrand, and we think the website plays a lot for us because we are the sort of language that we put on there now. It's kind of our new brand guidelines to be a bit more punchy and more colorful and more digital, whereas before I think the website was a little bit kind of context and content heavy, whereas I think the new website and the sort of vibrancy and youngness of it kind of reflects our attitude to digital growth now, if that makes sense.
Yeah, very cool. Very, very good. And what do you, I mean, you mentioned sort of like you revamped it, like where do you personally, I mean, everybody has their sort of personal, especially marketers that we're talking on the show, have their personal take on the website. Where do you see its current strength versus where do you see room for even improvement moving forward?
Where do I see our website's current strength? I think our strength kind of lays into two different avenues. So like I said about the tool, I really like the tool. I think that's super interactive. I like the fact that it's not just something to generate leads, but it's actually helpful to anybody who wants to come onto our website and kind of understand and investigate more information about their own digital health that they may not have had before. But another thing that I really like about our website is we have a fantastic content team here at SoarOnline, and we're constantly researching and writing and updating our blogs with really, really fun and sort of handy tips about little things about SEO that people don't really kind of know or understand in any depth. And, that's a good portal for people to, just come and understand what's kind of going on in 2021 and 2022 in regards to, various different digital marketing techniques. So I'm quite proud of the blog, actually. I think the blog is a really handy, again, just another handy tool for people.
Very cool. Yeah. For everybody who wants to check out the tool that Harry is mentioning, you just head over to SoarOnline.co.uk. This is where you can actually find it. Because you can trigger it from the website, right? If you're from the very top on the page. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. You trigger it and it just opens another page and gives you like a sort of PDF form, really. And it goes into sort of mobile, mobile usability, speed of page, what sort of keywords you're ranking for. You can also obviously enter the URL of your competitors as well, and kind of see what they're getting up to. So that's always fun.
Very good. What I'm always curious, especially when we talk about agencies on the show, is, and you mentioned you're obviously doing the services even within the community. Like, how do you guys typically go about figuring out why people don't convert on the website? Like, what's typically the approach? Like, is it, I don't know, user testing, heat maps, session recordings, analytics? What do you guys do in order to get into that insights?
Yeah, I mean, we use in terms of tracking that customer journey, we use Hotjar, which obviously is a really, really well-known tool that a lot of people kind of use. And we use it on our website. We use it on a lot of our clients' websites as well. And it's easy to sort of kind of figure out where you should be placing your keywords and your calls to actions on certain pages. Only a certain amount of people will scroll down the page if it's so interesting or not. And I think it's good for checking the customer journey, not for us because we're not an instant purchase sort of company, but for some of our clients, say for Event Masters, the sister one that we told you about, who buy tickets to various hospitality events like horse racing. Are they going through the right path? Is the structure of the website right? Should the content be siloed somewhat differently? Are people abandoning at cart? All of these things we can kind of like see from Hotjar at the moment.
Very cool. It's interesting. We discussed Hotjar, heat map, not necessarily Hotjar, but like heat mapping tools and session recording tools on the show. Like, how do you guys go about actually figuring out what needs to be changed then on the website? Because, sometimes you look at a heat map, it has some information. How do you guys actually, go about figuring out what to change?
I think it's just about data, really getting as much data as possible, and testing. And I know it can be quite monotonous, like having a look at those heat maps and checking them again, and looking at the video recordings and seeing what's, where people are clicking and things like that, just to kind of get you a better idea. But I think anything that is worth doing takes time, and I think just testing and trialing, and that's so much about what we do in the other side of our business as well. Like, yeah, obviously we're an SEO agency, and SEO is all about testing and making small tweaks and changes and seeing the results. It's a slow process, and once the jigsaw clicks, you kind of feel that works and it's great, but it takes a while to get there sometimes.
Makes sense. Very cool. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk a little bit about sort of your journey. I'm curious because there's so much. You mentioned you guys creating interesting and great content. There's obviously a lot of content on marketing and SEO out there. How do you kind of filter? Like, what's sort of your favorite go-to places to keep on educating yourself?
For me personally, and for our company.
For yourself.
Yeah. Well, there's quite a lot of different sort of resources I like to use. I like the SEO journal. I kind of subscribe to them and get their newsletter sent to my email every day. I like some of their sort of more kind of exciting and flamboyant, like larger digital marketing agencies to kind of go to for advice as well. Like, I think Neil Patel's videos are great and things like that. And then in terms of like sort of more rigid information about updates and stuff like that, obviously the Webmasters blog from Google is a go-to for anybody in this industry. I mean, if you're not looking at that very regularly, then you should be.
Very good. Let's wrap it up with some rapid fire questions. Are you ready for those?
Yeah.
What's the last book you read?
That would be Shoe Dog, which is the memoir by Phil Knight, the founder of Nike, and absolutely loved it. It was a fascinating read. It read like a novel. Very good.
What's the one single thing your company is focused on the most at the moment?
I would say it's our 500 Club, which is a sorry about that. Yeah, it's our 500 Club, which is a new offering that we're doing to help smaller businesses recover from COVID. It's a small marketing package with 5 benefits that you get every month. It's only £500, and it includes like web optimization, page speed fixes, 1 piece of content per month, schema markup on your website, individual hosting, and stuff like that. And it's a good package. I'm happy that we can offer it to people who may have just had to have their budget slashed because of COVID.
Makes a lot of sense. If there would be no boundaries in tech, everything would be possible, what's the one thing you would fix for your role today?
If there was no boundaries in tech, what would I fix for my role today? Oh, that's a tough one. I'm not sure. I'll have to come back to you on that.
Pull the wild card. That's okay. What's the one single thing that kept you, or the last thing that kept you awake at night about the company?
Probably the website launch. You never know how it's going to go, the rebrand. And I'm glad that it's gone well and it looks really good. But there could be some hiccups on the way, and I'm glad we avoided all those.
Very cool. And the last question would be, right, if we're going back to the days of the University of Leeds, right?
Yeah.
Doing a bit of time travel. So now you're stepping out of uni and you're off into the world of marketing. What's the one advice you would give yourself?
Again, I would probably say read as much as you can as soon as you can. That is advice I'd give to anybody. It should really help anybody who's kind of new to the game. Obviously, I studied history at uni, and it's a little bit different to kind of transplant those skills into the working life. But there is so many useful resources out there that people are putting up online every day. There's, like you said, there's so many blogs in marketing and SEO, and you can actually learn a lot of really good, interesting tactics and strategies just from kind of learning from your elders and from people that have done it before.
Very cool. Harry, I want to give you the very last word. If somebody would be forgetting all that we discussed about SOAR today, what's the one thing that they should remember about the agency?
Well, I'd probably say we're a small agency with big aspirations, and we look to help companies that are in the same boat, especially if you're in Birmingham and you're part of the business community. SOAR is here for any sort of consultative marketing that you need.
Thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathway Presents.
Thank you, Lucas. Cheers.